with a load of bad decisions. Caught me cannibalistic like the instrumental bumping. Now my man on a mission for a sentimental something in the den. The devil's running from nothing, bluffing, pulling punches, but the mental summon mutton puffing from a dungeon. Fishing allegoric, I'm provoking.
Hello there, and welcome to Sweet Child of Time. Today we're doing Wheel of Time, Episode 4. It's the Dragon Reborn. This one was released on November 26th, 2021, just 14 months ago, so just relax. It's not time for Season 2 yet. Everybody just calm down. All right, and here's my co-host. We'll see how calm he is. It's the Marsh Land Monster. James, ahoy there.
Chips ahoy to you, and it is no longer James, it is the Dragon Reborn, formerly known as James, who just realized, I have to find some reviews.
Oh, that's okay. You can tell me your review, and that you could squeeze that in there, and you can just say that's a positive review for the week, and you could be golden there, buddy.
Oh, no, you want to know what? What's up with you? What's up with the world of Wheel of Time? Any news on when Season 2's coming out?
No, it's still the same old, same old. We're getting a couple of new actors announced about every couple of weeks or so, but I haven't been boring you with that because it's not a whole lot to talk about, and they don't even name who these actors are playing, so it's all just a speculation game. So
unless if it's someone who I enjoy, then you say it's another Ninja Steel alum. I'd be like, gimme, I need it.
You know, speaking of which, I should probably do some deep dive on some of these actors because I have not. Because in the past, it really hasn't been that exciting to keep announcing that there's two more characters that are going to be portrayed that we don't know who they are. So, but yeah, I'll keep an eye out for that. And it's bound to be some other people from the kids, from the kids world. I guess you consider Power Rangers the kids world, right? What am I trying to say?
Yeah, I'd say children, but there are some of those legacy fans.
Okay, legacy fans, eh?
I mean, I forget the correct term that Hasbro and other toy companies use for adult collectors.
Oh, right, the golden guys.
Yeah.
I guess that's what they might call us, I suppose. But yeah, there's really nothing new on that front. $18.99, nothing new on that front either. The creator released a cryptic text about 3 hours ago. What were you going to say?
Guess who has seen a little bit of $18.99?
I'm guessing Nicole is watching it, and you're watching it over her shoulder.
I watched a little bit of it. Well, she was just hanging out, watching it, and what I'm seeing is, I probably wouldn't enjoy this, but she seems to be really liking it.
Well, ask her to, watch my recap podcast because we really deep dive into it. That's myself and Nate, and we had a blast doing it. I love the show to death.
I'll let you know, Nicole doesn't listen to any of my shows that she's not on, so she keeps saying, I got to really check out that Formulaic and stuff like that, but she doesn't.
I mean, this is right up her alley. I mean, this is exactly who my podcast is geared towards. People who are watching the shows that I'm recapping. So she's my direct audience right now. So I think I'm gonna need to start sending her some push notifications through Facebook Messenger, or maybe send her some spam mail. Maybe
you're on Facebook?
What's that?
You're on Facebook?
Barely. I'm on the Facebook groups, the Wheel of Time TV series and the $18.99 and the dark groups, but I don't venture into the personal world of Facebook too much.
Yeah, because I was going to be like, why aren't you in our Marsh Land Media Facebook Messenger group?
I don't know. Send me no, if it's a messenger group, I don't want to be part of that because I hate Facebook Messenger. I just hate that platform. So I don't know. That's why I'm not in there.
All right. I will say, looking at these reviews, most of them are so many 9s and 10s, and I think out of maybe 100 reviews, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are below 3 stars.
Dang. Okay. That's kind of what I expected because, this is the first one after the first batch went out. So this is people who are actually keeping up with the show. So, these are legit reviews, and maybe those 3 stars are people that tried to watch it and just didn't like it. So, I don't know. What did they got to say, James?
Man, I want to read this because this is truly an unhinged individual.
All for the better.
This is from, I don't even know where their name is, how I pulled this open. Oh, okay. It's Thom Damon 007 for the review of The Dragon Reborn. 3 out of 10 stars. Crazy how it's 3 out of 10 for what they're about to say. It's difficult to respect a show that doesn't respect the source material.
Oh, sorry.
If you don't know anything about Wheel of Time, I can imagine this is an entertaining show and episode. You can remove each part and then still enjoy it, you chud. But I find watching this gut-wrenching, wow, man, you live a very, very fortunate life. It is ridiculously different. It's fine if it is. I am not talking about specific lines or scenes. I, not capitalized, am talking about personality, the story, and Robert Jordan's conception of how the Wheel of Time universe works. This is the unhinged part. I feel not good saying any of this because it's like, this is so outlandish, but it is something, sorry, sir or madam, I would 100% watch this. This is the scene they're setting.
Okay.
Imagine Lord of the Rings, I'm guessing the movies, starts with a 60-year-old Black Sam killing his pregnant wife, female Aragorn carrying the ring to Mount Doom, and Gandalf and Galadriel having sex in Rivendell. Yes, it may be good to watch if you don't know the original story. If you do, that would be upsetting. No, sir. No, if the Tolkien estate signed off on that, I'd say, wow. We must be living in the Matrix, and this is my reality that I created myself because that is perfect for me.
Well, I guess we could thank this guy for giving us a minute of content, but that, again, I can't fathom these reviews where all they're saying is that's not the same as the book, because that's not a review of the show. I'd like to see, that is not a review of the show. That's just saying how it deviates. Which he's right. You can angle that any way you'd like. So I'm not a fan.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a negative one where they're not comparing the book to the show? Like where they're giving us actual, things to dissect from, plot and et cetera.
I want to know what this, I don't know, all of them, no, I'll just answer this right now, no. All of them are like, it's a derivation, you know that word I'm trying to say, to the story, it's all that.
Okay.
This one I want to read because it's from, oh, fuck me. They're back.
Go back.
They got me with the title, it's Wheel of Time Purist.
It's the same that's that same person you read a review last time, right?
Yeah, from 2 episodes ago. Okay.
Yeah.
1 out of 10 stars for The Dragon Reborn. This was the title that I was like, oh, what? They're commenting on all the 10-star reviews, obviously. This is the title of their review. Mind blown! ! Seriously impressive! ! Epic! ! Wow! ! Watch this! ! This is their review. It's bad. I'm starting to have theories on where the money went. $10 million made some amazing Game of Thrones episodes. Is that $10 million per episode or just for an entire season?
It's got to be for the whole season. $10 million per episode?
That would be insane.
That would be insane.
Well, I mean, yeah, because Stranger Things is $5 million per episode the last season.
There would not double Stranger Things' budget.
Yeah.
It's got to be for the season.
This person doesn't know production.
I think that's just wrong because $10 million for the season seems kind of low for the entire season as well. So I think they're just wrong about the numbers.
Well, we'll figure it out. They're also wrong about just everything. Here we get scenes throughout that they pretend are epic, but we see 1 to 5 people running around where hundreds would have been in the books. Yeah, dude,
I mean, he's right, but at the same time, what does he expect? So, yes.
Yeah. Okay. That would be like World War Z. They didn't get real zombies to crawl up that big old thing. Yeah, they had to use CGI shit. Come on. More social messages. More strange things with the magic. Meringue replaces a shield because why? No reason. We just wanted to do it. Very little nuance and personality like the original stories. Yeah, this person's just stupid. All the other stuff is just them going on about Logain would have been through 3 books, had more time. Shut up, dude.
Well, like I said, we got to thank them for giving us something to to read here, because we have to read these negative reviews. But I honestly wish the reviews were like, the acting was bad, the screenwriting was bad, or something about what they actually saw. That's what I'm dying to hear some criticism of.
Wait, what? Hold on. I want to just read this to understand. This is from Frederick Mellon saying, nope, Nynaeve. And then it says, okay. I don't even.
Okay.
This isn't even based on the Wheel of Time. It borrows its name, character names, and lore names, and nothing of its essence. If Nynaeve is what the show implies, then why? Just maybe that she's possibly the dragon? That's the end of the review. Right.
So the person probably thinks that, that's where they're leading the show towards. And it was just a fake reveal. So it was just a fake out.
Oh, no, I think she is. It's insane why she wouldn't be.
Oh, I hear you, but the person's right. Like, this didn't happen in the books this way. And I don't know. It's only the fourth episode of the first season, so he can't make any assertions at this point, like any final. You know what I'm saying? You can't be upset that Nynaeve is the dragon because it's just episode 4. They're leaning us towards thinking Matt's the dragon. They're leaning us towards thinking Egwene, like by using like all these cutaways and her working with Moraine. They're kind of leading you towards that a lot, I think, too. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but yeah, I think. Go ahead.
I like this. It's a 10 out of 10. I'm just going to read the title in quotes. Jeff Bezos is paying for reviews. ... No, this show is just good.
Oh, I thought this person is accusing Jeff Bezos of paying for reviews when they themselves are giving it a good review.
No, they're saying everyone else giving 1-star reviews they will say, oh, Jeff Bezos is clearly paying for the good reviews.
Yeah, gotcha. Yep.
No, it's just a good show.
Yeah, and people like it, and people want to give it 10 stars. Mm-hmm. And support it. I mean, that's the best way you can support something, is to give it the highest ranking possible. So that's what the fans are doing.
I like this person. They gave a 10 out of 10, and this will be the last one. And they say the title is actually an 8 or a 9, and this is their review. Have to rate it a 10 to counterpart the 1-star dingleberries that are probably still crying about Thom Bombadil. Hell yeah, dude. This one felt the most like the books without having much at all from the books, oddly enough.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of world building, a lot of stuff they had to explain. And I like the fact that they gave it a 10-star review, but then wrote in the review, this is actually more like 8 or 9. I love that. I'm going to start doing that too. That's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially something that's like a property that's like well hated, such as this.
Yeah, that's what, even though I would say I would do that for Ninja Steel, but I do honestly believe that's a 10 out of 10 every episode.
Well, I think these 3 stars and these 1-star people are wrong. I want to say that when it comes to the Wheel of Time world, I reserve the right to be wrong sometimes as well. Sometimes you might ask me questions and I'll give the wrong answer, or sometimes I'll say something wrong about the books or the show. I welcome people to give me feedback and let me know when that happens. sweetchildoftimepod@gmail.com, or you can contact one of us directly on Instagram. James is Marsh Land Monster pretty much everywhere. I'm Intro Void pretty much everywhere too. So, yeah, let's get on with our rewatch, James. What do you think about that?
I will say if you contact me through a DM, I will respond with, hey, I'm screenshotting this, going to send it off to Steve, and then give you a link to my Patreon.
Heck yeah. You know, I have a link to your Patreon on the show notes every week, and then like the intro to the show, I think actually shouts out mlmpod.com. So I'm doing my job, boss. I want to let you know I'm doing my part.
I'm just saying, if someone feels the need to come at me with actuallys, I don't know. That's the thing. But if you want me to respond with like, hey, let's have a dialogue, we can do that in a Patreon direct message.
Right on. That hasn't happened yet, where somebody got in touch with me to say something about you. That did happen with Nate. I think maybe because the 1899 crowd and Nate's crowd kind of intersected. So I did get messages. I got 2 messages saying that Nate was hot and they liked him. This is a largely female audience. And I got people that were fans of Nate that would write in and, you know, say how great Nate was, but never say anything about me. So that's how that went down.
That's usually how it goes for all my shows. It's like, Nicole is so good. Oh, man, that's Sean. He's hilarious. Oh, actually, Corwin. Praises for Corwin, which is founded for Corwin and for Nicole. Sean, to a lesser extent. Saw him do improv live for the first time. It was very good.
Yeah, I heard. I'm a little jealous. I guess none of that is on YouTube or nothing like that, huh? I guess no. Nobody wants to film during an improv set. It's not the right thing to do.
Oh, I would totally be down. I think him and his troupe should be doing a podcast.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're not. Like any improv group should be doing an improv podcast just to keep on keep their toes up, you know?
I am going to pitch him to be like, hey, if you're trying to do this brunch prov as a way to promote it, have people that it's an open mic, but for stand-up, or not for stand-up, for improv. He wants to branch out to other things, but hey, kind of comedy Bang Bang style, comedy Death Ray style, have the people who are going to be on that week have a podcast where they do their improv, and then, I really want to check them out. I don't know why UCB or IO, places like that, never did that. To be like, hey, this is our show. We'll get our mainstays to do episodes, but hey, there's some up-and-comers. Let's get them on to showcase so their rooms start to fill out as well.
Yeah. Right.
Why doesn't anyone want to hire me?
For what in particular? What are you in the market for?
Podcast producer.
Oh, right on. I produced this podcast, and I think I need to keep it that way. But I put the word out there on Reddit. I know I'm part of these podcasting boards, Podcast Guest Exchange, Podcasting, which is another good one. I've given you shout outs before. I don't know if anybody's contacted you through me or not, but
no.
Yeah, you do music too. You've done some of my music. This is not a commercial for you, James. Save it till the end. We got to get to our Wheel of Time, episode 4, okay?
I have very small notes for it.
Yeah, same here. I'm just dividing this up into 3 different portions, and the first portion is going to be the Perrin and Egwene portion. Let me do my little summary here. Perrin and Egwene travel and interact with the Tuathan. The Tuathan share their philosophy of the Way of the Leaf. They talk about the song. We learn about their nonviolent ways and how they deal with adversity, which is to run or endure, to never fight. And that more or less wraps up what we learn about Perrin and Egwene in this episode. They're doing a lot of Tuathan time, which is great. I do like this a lot. It's just not much for us to really recount here that we haven't already recounted before.
Yeah, I didn't see anything new to pick out and be like, oh yeah, they're planting seeds for this thing that happens in episode 7.
Yeah, the 2 things that I wanted to discuss, I guess, was first off, Perrin. The way they're portraying him on the show right now, it seems like he's the least likely to be the dragon. Because like I said, they're really hyping up Egwene, Nynaeve at the end of this episode, of course, Rand being the lead guy, Matt to a lesser degree. But Perrin, seems he's more wolf-like than dragon-like.
Yeah.
And he's probably a pretty hard character to read, like, if you're show only, because in the books, you're in Perrin's head a lot. and he doesn't talk a lot, but he does think a lot. So you get to know his character in the book, and I think in the show you're nowhere, you don't know him as well as like the book readers do at this point. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of unfortunate that he doesn't. He smiles like one time in this episode. That's all I saw him smile was once watching Egwene dance, and there's not much to him in this episode to talk about, really.
Yeah, well, if we were so far into the books, we'd be in book 4 already. We'd know so much about him.
Well, yeah, even book 1 gets they get into Rand's head a lot more in book 1, but I don't know, Perrin gets a lot of head time. And
oh, man, being in Rand's mind is like being in the Joker's mind.
Oh, I tell you, I think that'd be more like Matt would be more Joker and more chaotic. I don't know, Rand wants to be more middle of the road, I think, more mid. Rand is mid.
No. Matt's more Harley Quinn's mind.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go into Matt and Rand next, since we didn't do much with Perrin and Egwene. Let me read my little summary for them, and let's see if that gets any fireworks going. My Matt and Rand summary, and Thom, goes like this. They come upon a small farm and family. Rand talks the family into trusting them. Rand and Matt shovel the stables while Thom entertains the family, singing for their supper. Matt is getting sicker and much worse. Later that night, a Fade murders the farm family. Thom battles the Fade in order for Rand and Matt to escape. And
I got an explosive thought.
Yes. Let's hear it.
Could the Gleeman actually be a dark friend?
Sure. Anybody could be a dark friend at this point. He seems like the least likely to be a dark friend, but absolutely he could be. Why not? Why do you think that?
Okay. I'm just opening up all possibilities.
Sure.
What is the best way to break someone if you need them alive? You need them to be vulnerable. Hey, we think Matt might be the dragon. Let's say that. At least that's what the Dark One is thinking.
Okay.
Let's go and make him think he murdered an entire family and a child. Like, that reminds him of his sisters. The best way to break him is have that thought in his mind. He does not know if it was him or the Fade. There's always that possibility lingering in the back of his mind. But we need his friends to think that he didn't. So they're not going to immediately kill him. They're not going to turn him over to the Aes Sedai. They want him safe. So let's stage it that the Fade clearly killed them. So, but Matt doesn't know that. But we need it to be like the Fade is coming after him. Hey, Gleeman steps in, even though they're on the same team, the Fade and the Gleeman.
Right.
They battle out. Oh, leave.
Right.
But now Matt is going to be spiraling out of control, just like the Dark One wants him to.
I could see that making sense too, because something I wrote in my notes was that this Fade that showed up is different from the Fades that we've seen in the other episodes, because they all came with these big teams of Trollocs, and they weren't after killing Matt and Rand and that whole crew. They just wanted to capture them and just pretty much kill anybody in their way. But the key thing is they came with a whole bunch of Trollocs.
Yeah.
And this guy did not come with a whole bunch of Trollocs. He came by himself. So that makes a lot of sense that...
Dude, if in season 3 we find this out, what will you do, Steve? Will you be like, wow, I think James actually might read these books?
Yeah, I would think you were cheating. Absolutely.
I think James might. Is James a writer's assistant? Is that what he's doing?
Or you're like fishing Nicole for information, probably, because she's, comic book stores and like fantasy novels go hand in hand. So I'm sure some of her customers are like hip to the Wheel of Time world and can probably clue her into some facts. Man, that would make sense too, because Thom was there in that same inn with Dana, who we know now that she was a dark friend. Yeah. They could have been working together this whole time, and she seemed to have like a kinship with Thom of some sort.
And they even imply like, oh, he could have been a dark friend by killing her just to like get us on his side and like draw us away to do like it makes sense because now that seems like, oh well, obviously that's what he's doing, but then setting him up as a hero, we as an audience just take that at face value. He's the hero, Matt's good, everything's all well, but no, it's not. He is a dark friend.
Yeah, this is a real fun twist, and it makes all my notes look a lot different. Like, one of my notes was that Matt trusts Thom and he sticks up for Thom to come along with them because Rand is not so sure about him, and Matt sticks up for him. Matt, who is Dagger Matt at this point. So that also kind of, puts some tape on your theory too. He does talk to Rand about his nephew Owen. We can't forget that he has that in his past. Yeah, he hates Aes Sedai that stilled Owen.
Uh-huh.
And I know the White Cloaks hate Aes Sedai, but that's just because they're short-sighted. But the Darkfriend hates Aes Sedai because they're their actual like enemies when it comes to, their philosophy.
Yeah, I do like how one thing the Aes Sedai, so in the Meringue story and in this, the Gleeman says there is nothing more dangerous than a man who knows the past.
Right.
And I wrote another note before that ever came up, which is the Red Aes Sedai, Leandra. Mm-hmm. She is saying, oh, the Blues think they're so good, but all they are is spies, and like, what's the big deal about that? But I wrote down, information is the most valuable thing to a kingdom or to anyone.
Heck yeah.
It lets you know what is going on and how you should prepare for what's going on. And then him saying that later on was a nice, tying the two stories in what we're being taught or what we should be taking away together.
Yeah. Heck yeah. And you're familiar with D&D, so you know that people have D&D attributes such as like luck and charm, and of course there's strength and endurance and things like that. But a couple of attributes are like luck and charm, and those are a couple things that Ta'Veren have a lot of. Like, whatever the highest level they can have, that's what they have. So that's kind of Rand's trick into like getting people to go along with him, and to, I don't know, he can kind of talk anybody into anything because he has that charm, and he has plus 22 or whatever the highest can be.
Mm-hmm.
The only other note I think I had was that you said last week that you saw yourself, you could be a Gleeman if you were in the Wheel of Time world, traveling about, entertaining folks. And we see Thom here doesn't want to do any hard labor. Is that the kind of Gleeman you would be too? Would you be like, nah, I can't help you guys, bust any tables at this restaurant, or I can't do any work because I'm the entertainment. I got to stay fresh, baby.
It depends on if a server is asking me and I clearly see they're swamped and I'm not doing anything, I will absolutely help. Or, we're doing this show like at the Shithole was a showcase every single Sunday. They would do it in an attic or whatever space they could find.
Yeah.
And you go there, you set up chairs. Even if I'm performing, I'll get there early. I would set up chairs a couple times. I'd be like, yeah, guys, your bathroom needs to be cleaned. I'm going to come. They also like lived by Skatopia law, which was like, hey, you come here, you do the work if you want to enjoy this space, like give back and help build it. So I would go, I would mop, I would clean, and then have fun.
I'm proud of you. So you wouldn't be like a Thom prima donna. That's another Darkfriend mark against Thom here, is that he doesn't want to help. He wants to be lazy and not do any real work here. He just wants to play music for the kids.
I will say, if someone's like, hey, can you help me before the show do this thing that requires me to talk to them, I'd be like, I don't think I can, because the 4 hours before a show, I have my set just on loop, hoping that I will only fuck up 4 times, even though I've been rehearsing this for 2 months, opposed to getting a line and being like, I don't know this verse. Sorry, guys.
I'm with you. I would do the same thing when we would have shows. I would be like playing the songs all day long, and it wouldn't be a good idea. It would probably be better to not rehearse until, like an hour beforehand, maybe. But I would just do it way too much and be way too stressed about it. So I'm with you.
I have nightmares where it's like, hey, we were performing the show, and I'm like, I don't know this set at all.
Yes. Some good folks on set, I would say, is this child actor who played opposite Matt and gave him the bread. I really like the background actors that they're getting, the side actors, for example, Aram and Dana and Isla. There's some really good side actors that just play on one episode, and she's another one too. It's really hard to get a good child actor like this, and I don't know. I just wanted to commend her for doing a good job, because you don't see that a lot. Like just the way she emoted.
There's a lot more child actors that are great these days, and I think it's probably just either the director or just someone on set. Like now we have probably 15 years ago, an intimacy director, never a thing. So maybe there are people who are like, I know how to direct children very well. So if you have a child, you need acting well. I can speak a language that a child will understand instead of talking to a child like they're an adult.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that it also probably makes sense that they be in the film industry, in the television industry, when they want to make a good show, they want every actor to shine. They don't want a bunch of wooden people in the background, or 5 main cast characters and then a bunch of people in the background not saying anything. They want to make sure every actor is like, I would say somebody like Allison Jones, isn't that her name? That cast a lot of stuff back in the 2000s, did a lot of stuff with Judd Apatow. And any show that I saw that Allison Jones was casting on, you knew that any bit player that would come in would be somebody great, and it wouldn't just be just some random person. And I think this show is doing that too. They're doing a good job with their second, third, and fourth string characters. The Brigitte doll, I just got to bring that up. That's going to be some foreshadowing down the road. I like that they brought her up and personified her this early in the story. Like I said, she's like a hero in this world. There's also another hero called Jane Forrest Strider, and everybody talks about these people the way we talk about Star Wars or whatever.
Or Johnny Appleseed.
Or any of our heroes. What else do I have here? We see Rand busting down the door this time. This is our first real physical Rand thing that we see, is him busting the door down.
He loves busting doors down.
So I was thinking about this when when Logain later on, when Logain and Nynaeve are talking, when Logain and Moraine are talking, and they're talking about how strong he is in comparison to Nynaeve, how strong we see she is at the beginning of this. The dragon has even more power than that. I mean, there's a lot of power to be had, and we're only seeing a small part of that. And right now, Nynaeve is the most powerful that we have seen. Busting this door down is nowhere near what Nynaeve just did, but I think rest assured that Rand is capable of more. And I don't know. That's all I got with those boys until we get on to Nynaeve. Did you have anything before we go to break, James?
Nope, that's it.
Break time. Okay, see you in a minute.
Self-deprecating, eating beef on the diss track. Dominate and treat the beat like a piss mad. Bitches contemplating me in deep for a mismatch. So I'm urinating on the seas like a piss mat.
I'll just take my moral compass and just snap it in half, like a screener. Just completely abandon my classics. I mean, I would let Lorne Michaels own me.
And we are back, and we are listening to Marsh Land Monster and MC Deep. That's Over Analytic, and that is from James's. It's actually, is it out now? Is it February 10th yet? It's not quite February 10th. But James, you just released an album February 10th, correct?
Yes. Wait, so is this being released before February 10th or
Yes.
after? All right. Yes, February 10th, the Horror Crunk Entertainment Remix album, everywhere where music is found.
Right on. And James, I hate to tell you this, buddy, but it's quiz time. You didn't know I was giving you a quiz today, did you? Did you study?
I always anticipate a quiz because that's what the public education system tells us to.
That's right. There's always a quiz every Wednesday, and there's a test every other Thursday. And then Monday's always a freebie. So first off, James, this will be an easy one. What color Aes Sedai is known as the Battle Aja?
I believe green.
Green, correct. That's a ding for you. All right. Which Aes Sedai are known as the Spy Network?
Blue.
That's blue. Do you remember the Aes Sedai color of the healers by any chance?
Yellow.
That's yellow. And okay, we're going to pause the quiz just for a second because we're going to talk about the yellow Aes Sedai. Because we know that they're the healers, but we see a lot of green and red and blue Aes Sedai healing people as well. That's because when you learn stuff in the tower, everybody learns their basic first aid. They they learn their basic healing, but it's like the yellows that become the doctors, and they can do stuff with the brain. They can, do a lot of specialty stuff. So those are the yellows. Okay, moving on. What Aes Sedai are known as the mean meanies, and we all hate them?
The Amarilla Seed. No, the red.
That's me, the red. The reds are the ones who are hunting, and they are hunting the men who can channel, that is. I should complete that sentence instead of just leaving it hanging there. I was noticing...
No, they're hunting deer and such.
Okay, so we saw a lot of warders hanging out with some other Aes Sedai, but there were a lot of other people in that camp. And I don't think we ever talked about that. They just have cooks and hunters and, woodcutters and seamstresses and everybody hanging out with them. Aes Sedai are real hoity-toity. So they're going to want to look nice all the time. They're going to want to have everything proper. So they have a pretty big, what do you call it, a retinue that hangs out with them all the time.
Never heard that word.
A pretty big tribe. I don't know. They just have a lot of people hanging out with them. They call them camp followers, I guess, when you're at war. But in this situation, they just have a lot of people working for them.
Do you mean Jeremy Retinue?
Yeah, sure. And the red Aja, the red Aes Sedai, remind me a lot of the White Cloaks. I don't know if we talked about that before or if you made that connection, but it seemed like they kind of go hand in hand. If the White Cloaks didn't hate Aes Sedai so much, they would probably get along pretty well with these reds.
Yeah. Now, if you start quizzing me on all the other colors, I do not remember. I think some are librarians.
Yeah, I'll just tell you so you'll be prepared when we meet some down the road. We haven't met any other colors at this point, but the white Aes Sedai are the philosophers. They're all into, I don't know. The brown are the librarians. That's
what I thought.
Yeah, that's where you're going to find Lindsay Dunn and myself. We'll be brown Aes Sedais probably. And then diplomats who go out and talk to kings and queens and stuff. They're the grays.
All right.
So those are our 7 Aes Sedai. Yeah, I wanted to mention that Leandrin did invite Nynaeve over. She offered an extension to her. And I think that if Lan hadn't interrupted her talking to Nynaeve, they would have talked a lot longer.
Probably.
Like when Lan came up and interrupted them and she bailed, Nynaeve immediately kind of insulted her behind her back. But I have a feeling she would have talked to her as long as she hung out. Maybe even would have gone for dinner.
No, I think she was starting to call her on her own bullshit. That's how I was feeling of this person is just trying to play me and try to get me to, like, I don't like any of these individuals. So I am going to use this Red Aes Sedai for information about Meringue because this person took me and my friends from my home. I need more information about her. But once she starts saying, oh, they're up their own asses, yeah, so are you, ma'am. So I'm going to peace out and, you know, get me some dick.
Nah, she ain't doing that. The Red, that's the last thing from their mind. The Reds hate dudes. Like,
oh, no, I'm saying Nynaeve is like, hey, I'm going to peace out. Like, I'm getting as much information about Leanne or Meringue from you, but I'm calling you on your own bullshit, Red Aes Sedai. Me, Nynaeve, I'm going to peace out and get me some dick.
She tried, man. If that Dragon Reborn army hadn't come over the hill at that exact moment, they would have kissed or hugged or something at that point. They being Nynaeve and Lan, they were like moving towards it. It was obvious, and they were disrupted by this battle.
They would have gone played a sensual round of hide and go track.
They're all, man. Yeah, she mentioned that she tracked, and all the warders got like a big boner all of a sudden. Like, she can track. Wow, that's like the number one attractive quality of a woman.
I don't think it's they were attracted to her. It's the fact that, like, oh, we can razz Lan now because someone tracked him. We can't do that.
Yep, that's right. Yep. She reveals how she did that in the book. She was kind of coy here. And I don't think she ever comes around and tells Lan about that in this show, at least not in this season. Maybe she
says, you are leaving piss everywhere.
That's right. Little droplets all over the trees. Another what if. Like, what if Logain had not been stilled at the very end of this episode? Like, because, like, what happened was Nynaeve healed everybody. Everybody was in complete shock, including Logain, who was all like, whoa, wow, she's powerful. And then, like, Leandrin just was an opportunist and took that moment to still him. But, like, what if she hadn't? It seems like, I don't know, what, can you fathom that possibility? Like, if he hadn't been stilled at the end of this episode?
Oh, I thought this was the only choice in this matter. Like, he should have been stilled.
Well, they should have captured him again. They should have taken him to the Armorland seat. Like,
no, because they saw that. So in the beginning of this storyline, they say, oh, it's taking two of us to keep him shielded.
Right.
Wow, that's crazy. But we then find out that he's just been biding his time. He could have broken out of the shield at any moment. So yes, we need to prevent him from doing this again. And we don't know that if we bring him to the city, that even if he kills one more person that we cannot heal later on, that is on them, that they allowed this man to infiltrate and kill someone, even if it's a normal, just non-Aes Sedai person. That's how I'm looking at it. Like, yes, this is something she wanted to do, but now she has to do it.
I don't know. I don't know if she had to do it. I see your logic. You're explaining it a lot better than she did. But they have Nynaeve now, who's obviously stronger than he is. So she could probably shield him. Well, no, I take that back, because as we find out later on, like, she can't just go around and channel at will. She has to have something really crazy happen.
Yeah, this is classic X-Men.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And I should explain that. When a mutant in early teenage, late teenage years, all of a sudden explodes and, you know, wipes out an entire city block, people are like, holy shit, they're the strongest mutant we've ever seen. Oh, but they are just uncontrollable. They don't know how to replicate that, which is bad on all circumstances of how do we harness this for good? Oh, we don't know how. They can't. And how do we prevent this for good?
Right. So, yeah, the White Tower is the equivalency of Xavier's Academy for, what is it, extraordinary students or what have you. Yeah. I was kind of seeing this as like an opposite of a work from home situation. Like, when people work from home, they can kind of work at their own pace, more apt to take breaks, maybe more apt to break the rules. But when you work at the White Tower and you go out into the world, that's when you're kind of like in the work from home environment where you can kind of break the rules and stop off at different places and hook up with different people. Like, I think, that's probably where I should have gone with the quiz, James. We've explained all the different Ajas of the Aes Sedai. So let's say little James is showing some channeling ability, and you're a female in this scenario, and we take you to the White Tower and you learn to start channeling. Which Aes Sedai
this is my
Aja?
dream.
Yeah, which Aes Sedai Aja do you think you might lean towards?
And by this being my dream, I do mean just being a woman.
Yes, you have it all, man.
I think blue.
Okay, and why do you choose blue?
Well, same as like if you're a gleeman, you're going around, you're gathering information, you're making bonds, connecting with people. I think that's the same as that, or yellow as a healer. I would never be I could bullshit as a white, absolutely, and stumble in. Have you watched Kunk on Earth?
Yes.
Oh my, it's so good.
It
but
is.
When she's talking to that philosopher and her dumb shit ends up somehow sparking like, oh my God, this is actually like a very...
Like, oh, you're actually correct about that.
like this is... But I think that's what philosophy is. You can bullshit philosophy because all it is like thinking wider than the scope of what normal thought every day is. So like, I could bullshit as a white. I would never want to be a red, would never want to be a green.
No.
The librarian, I might retire as a librarian, as a brown.
Don't forget the grays. The grays are the diplomats, so they're always traveling too.
Because that's just me like having to be fake with people.
I was going to suggest the blue for you anyway, because what I was going to actually suggest was for you to be okay. Because Moraine is out there in the world, and she's not always flaunting that she's an Aes Sedai. She sometimes has to hide her identity, but she was once in like a great house. So whenever she hides her identity, that's like the kind of the persona she goes towards is like, oh, I'm a lady from a house somewhere. So your persona would be like, you're a gleeman. You're like a pretend gleeman who goes around. And because you would be an Aes Sedai in disguise, you would have like all the perks that go along with being an Aes Sedai as part of like the most powerful organization. So they would hook you up like with the best bars, the best gigs, the best other gleemen to play with. And meanwhile, you'll be behind the scenes gathering that intel. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That'd be a pretty sweet gig.
I will say, if all of a sudden I get a fulfilling thing, which would be, hey, I get to go around. I'm never doing music. Absolutely not. Like, I wish I could quit doing this dumb shit that I'm like, oh, I need it. I wish I could cut that meat off at the stump, but I can't. So if all of a sudden my secret identity would never be like, hey, I'm a live, especially playing live. Ugh.
But that's what a gleeman does, though. So how would you get around that? What kind of gleeman would you be?
Well, no, I wouldn't be a gleeman. If I'm an Aes Sedai, I would never be a gleeman. But in this world, if I had no magic, I'll be a gleeman.
Okay. So that's what I'm asking. So like Moraine is like the lady. So when you go to an inn into a town and you can't reveal yourself as an Aes Sedai, they're going to ask you like who you are, where you're from, what's your cover? What's your cover
Pillow
story?
talk, dude.
Huh?
I'm out there. I'm having affairs with the women of powerful people, and the pillow talk, it just comes out.
Okay, so you're swooning the ladies across the land.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
I go back to a yellow and say like, hey, just in case, can you heal me? I might have some diseases now. Because I am sleeping around like crazy, and a diplomat did stab me. So, hey, who are they? The Grey Aja? Mm-hmm. You have to go to this town and kind of smooth things over.
Well, I guess you would not have a warder then. The warders are pretty much hand in hand with the greens. Of course, the blues can have warders as well. So you could have a warder, actually. Because, Moraine's got a warder that hangs out with her. These warder dudes, they practice a lot. And they practice between 4 to 8 hours a day. So, like, basically, they travel when they're traveling around. And whenever they stop for camp, they're practicing. Like, sword movements, technique. They're doing it all. They're always practicing. They're never chilling. You're never going to find a warder just like hanging out, not doing anything. These guys are on the fire. This is like the only time you'll see them doing something like this. Otherwise, they're working hard all the time. So I just wanted to let you know the life of a warder is not all hanging around the fire, unless you're a warder of like, not Alana. Alana or one of these other gals that she like. These Aes Sedai like multiple warders at the same time. That's kind of like a known thing that the Green Aja are into because they have a lot of, I guess not testosterone, estrogen, I guess, built up in them. And they're really into battle and they're really into aggressiveness and they're really into making out a lot. And that's pretty much all they do. Let's see. Somebody says something along the lines of, it was Lan and Moraine, that even the Dark One doesn't know who the dragon is at this point. So we're not sure if that's good or bad, but it's just a known thing that nobody knows who the dragon is, not even the Dark One, who probably should know. Okay, we're at a point now that I'm going to go ahead and do a summary of what happens with Nynaeve and the Aes Sedai, and maybe this
might
not
even do that yet.
Nope. I kind of skipped ahead and started talking about Aes Sedai stuff instead of Nynaeve. So let's see. The Aes Sedai have captured Logain Ablar, who they believe is the Dragon Reborn. He's more powerful than any Aes Sedai. It takes 2 strong ones to shield him. Well, as you revealed, it takes 2 strong ones to pretend to shield him. It probably would actually take like a link of like 4 or 5 Aes Sedai to probably hold him down. 7 Aes Sedai linked is like one of the most powerful forces you can come upon in nature. So 7 could absolutely hold any person down. I think it's like 13 could hold down the Dragon Reborn. Like the most powerful person in the world could be taken down by 13 linked Aes Sedai.
I thought you were going to say 13 could split the world in half, and I'd be like, dang, man. They should not be in the same room together then.
Let's see. Moraine is healed, and Nynaeve is introduced to the Aes Sedai and the Warders. She gets much closer to Lan, and they almost kiss or embrace when the false dragon's army attacks, and Logain breaks free. The Aes Sedai win, but at the cost of a few lives. More would have died. Many more would have died, but Nynaeve, in a burst of anguish, heals everyone in the room. And Logain is ultimately stilled by the Aes Sedai. But we do have one fallen. I want to say Alana, but it's not Alana who falls here. It is
the green one.
The green one. She falls, and her warder Steppen is super bummed.
And fucks things up.
So yeah, it's significant here that Logain is impressed with Nynaeve's power, and that he's just blown away because, as you can see, he's a pretty powerful dude too. And I was talking about charm and luck that these Taverine have. And obviously he has a lot of that too, because he can have kings, turn to him as a leader, and he can lead, thousands of men. So obviously this Logain guy is hugely powerful. And even he is looking at Nynaeve like, whoa, like I wish I could have a tenth of that.
This Logain guy is a fighter and a healer.
Wait, who did he heal? He didn't heal anybody so far, did he?
Yeah, the king.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did heal them at the very beginning there. And you probably still haven't seen, I asked you before, this guy looks so much like Johnny Drama to me, that king. But we see the king later on too. He's leading the charge of the men. He's like up front with the guys. So like, kings bow to the dragon and they just settle back in with the little guys. Yeah, that was some of my last notes. How Nynaeve can only channel when she's really upset or determined or passionate about something. And her braid. Yeah, go ahead.
What?
I was going to say her braid, how much I love her braid. When it's like standing up, it's like all divided.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a whole bunch of little braids. But when she's like hanging out and Leandrin is like complimenting her braid, that's like when you can get the best look at it. And it's, I mean, it's huge. It's like a foot thick and it has like all these intricate braids inside the braids. And I don't know, that's some badass stuff.
I could already feel negative reviewers say like, this is stupid. Like she's just shouting and she's the strongest one. And it's like, okay, in 1995, shonen anime and manga wasn't widespread as it is today. I'm fine with some Dragon Ball Z type shit happening in any fantasy or sci-fi.
I think maybe it's maybe after I saw Dark is like when I kind of changed my opinion of what I was willing to believe and not believe in a TV show, because so much weird stuff happened in Dark that could never actually really happen in our reality. But I bought it. And it was sold to me in such a way that it seemed like just another show, like watching Step by Step, for example. And so it's even like really ridiculous comedy shows where you pick apart like the plot or pick apart like somebody's interaction, like how unnatural it may be. But it's just part of the fantasy world. And anything goes. I'm willing to accept anything unless it I don't know. I guess it can fall flat. Some things can fall flat and not work. I don't know. It's rare in between, though.
I think I had a very good upbringing in the sense that, like, when I watch a TV show, I don't get hooked up on the details, and I think it's because I grew up with Mystery Science Theater, and in one of the lyrics is like, how does he eat and breathe? Hey, don't worry about any of that. It just is. And I'm like, oh yeah, just don't worry. This is a fun show. Just live in the reality that they're living in, and that's all you need to do.
I haven't always done that. Especially as a teenager, I would definitely pick apart silly things because I was watching 80s TV, late 80s television. So, of course, it was silly. And, of course, there was a lot of things you could pick apart. And me and my group of friends were really into picking those things apart and laughing about them. And we loved the kind of absurdist comedies that do those kind of things on purpose. It wasn't until, like, I would really think watching Dark is what turned things around for me, that I started accepting more goofiness in shows. Straight up.
Hell
Thank you,
yeah,
Dark.
dude.
And I'll be reviewing it pretty soon. Not reviewing it, recapping it with Miss
Hell
Lindsay
yeah.
Dunn. Probably in 2 weeks, she'll be done watching 1899. So we can finally bring our recaps together and bring those shows back together. We'll do like 1 week with myself and Lindsay and Nate. And that'll be like, I think, between episodes 6 and 7 for us. So you'll get a week off, James. You can like, you and Nicole can take a little nice night on the town in Chicago there. I don't
think we will not do that.
I know you won't.
Speaking of Nicole, real quick.
Yes.
She would hate if she saw the shield that happens, like as it goes around the Dragon Reborn in quotes.
Right.
She would just hate it because it looks like an embryonic webbing. And those are two things she's like, oh, I don't want to see that. Oh, and I don't want to see that. Like anytime Mothra larva starts spinning webbing on Godzilla or any other villain, she's like, oh, this is gross. So yeah, Nicole would be like, this effect, it's well done. I'm not dogging the computer graphics department, but oh man, it just looks disgusting.
Season 2 is going to be different for us. Like all these effects they have for the magic system, they're doing, from what I understand, they're doing completely different effects. And that's what's taken so long with this season 2. I mean, I say so long. It's only been 14 months since this episode was dropped. So that's really not that long. But they they're doing different cinematography. It's going to just, I think it's just going to be a lot different of a tone to the show as well. And I'm anxious how we're going to do it because, like I said, we're going to be recapping it week to week. And it's kind of similar to how Nate and myself did it, except with Nate and myself, we actually had those episodes that we could go ahead and watch more if we wanted to ahead of time, where we won't have that advantage. But I don't know. Whenever it comes, it'll come. We'll love it. I think that's it for the Dragon Reborn, though, James.
Yeah, I did hear like the shakeups of behind the scenes, what they're doing. I hear they got Lloyd Kaufman to direct some episodes. I'm very interested in that.
It went over my head. What are you talking about?
He's the trauma dude, did like Toxic Avenger and all of that.
That's a step up, right?
Yeah. Oh, I would love to see bullshit like that of give these. That's like James Gunn started at Trauma. And then he did Scooby-Doo. So, like, those are really cool things to be like, oh, hell yeah. Like, Eli Roth, I believe, I don't think he started at Trauma, but he got his start around that community. So, yeah, guys, I would love to see some weird Trauma dude do a Wheel of Time and be like, yeah, okay, let's get their thoughts and opinions on this. Because there are people who care about the product.
That's true, and the people that will stretch a budget too to make it work for them.
Oh yeah,
I mean, and that's what we need. Yeah,
Melzer from all my podcasts, he guests and all of that. Like he did Street Wizard's Apprentice, and he took it to some festivals, and he was like hearing people be like, "Oh yeah, our shorts, it was like $5,000, this and that." Then they would like show his, and they'd be like, "Wow, man, that's great. How much? Like, what was your budget on that?" And Melzer goes, "I don't know. I think like all 6 episodes all together, we spent maybe $500." And they're like, "Excuse me, what?" But it's just because they care about it, and everyone creating that specialized in a specific thing that makes television and film work well.
And I think, I hate to say it, but I think some of these directors that probably, have a larger budget and have worked with more money probably know how to be more bogus with their budget as well, where they can stretch things out and create a need for an asset that you don't actually need in order to make the budget bigger. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I have a feeling that they spent $500 on it, but they probably all their time was unpaid that they spent on it, where they probably should have gotten compensated. And
it's all self-produced,
right?
So
yeah.
What I'm truly saying is someone hire my friend Melzer.
Yes, please.
MT Melzer on Twitter. Hit him up. Hire him.
And we got a couple of musicians and an audio engineer here. You could hire the Marsh Land Monster to do your music or to produce your podcast or to do any sort of editing. I'm rolling into the plugs now, and I'm plugging Marsh Land Monster. This week, we listened to him and MC Deep, and they did a song for us called Over
Analytic.
Over Analytics.
Analytic.
And the link for that is the first link you see on the show notes there. And I would be Intro Void. You can find me at intro.void. Sweet Child of Time Pod is my Instagram as well, and sweetchildoftimepod@gmail.com. And every week, I'm thankful to do this with James, the Marsh Land Monster. I said some plugs for you, James, but did I miss anything? Is there anything else you have plugs for?
Yeah, hey guys, listen to The Height of Horror. It's a horror podcast. Yeah. It's real fun. Check out Formulaic with R2 Shelby 2 and I. We just released an episode where we wrote in under an hour an episode of Blue's Clues, and it went very well. And then, hey, speaking of trauma movies, for the entire month of March, we are just This Existed over on patreon.com/MLM pod. We're just doing trauma movies the entire month, all 4 Fridays. Episodes of This Existed discussing trauma. We got Class of Nukem High, Father's Day, Monster in the Closet, and Beware Children at Play.
Oh, good. I was gonna try to. I know what they were too, and I was gonna try to jump in, but you got them. Heck yeah! Have you seen these movies before, or are you watching them fresh right now?
I watched them before because with trauma, it can be very hit and miss. So I needed to make sure I am I'm not taking I need to make sure my friend Corey is enjoying himself while watching the movie, or if it's so outlandish, at least he'll be like, oh, I have good stuff to say on the show. So he gets fun out of it somehow. But all the movies I chose were not the most offensive or like the most, in quotes, trauma of all movies. And I'm not picking the, like, besides Class of Nukem High, I didn't choose the, like, oh, Toxic Avenger, Terra Firma, all of the things that, like, they're known for, Tromeo and Juliet, which I think James Gunn.
Bang. All right. Back around to that. Back around to trauma. And I hope everybody has a trauma-filled month of February. It is February. You're doing the trauma month, right?
March
is our trauma month. March is the month of Melissa on darlinghomebody.com as well. So you guys go see Melissa. And next week, we'll be back with a recap of episode 5. Can't remember the title of it off the top of my head, but we'll see y'all next week. And James, I hope you always find water and shade.
Hey,
yeah,
find a little bug that can go into a bunch of tiles and move a wall.
Yay! Like our friend Arthur. Bye, James. Thank you.
Bye.
You let Lauren own you.
Well, you know, like when somebody signs with SNL, they sign a contract where it's like NBC basically owns them for 10 fucking years.
Yeah.
I'm over analytic like the way the measures started hitting. I meet with themes amid an allegoric psycho spitting. Ripped writtens, keep dissing. I can't recall when I started listing heat glisten, keep winning. We peak performance from a couple creeps decidedly fucked up your irony. The things I'm saying fiery. Don't know when we decided we would try to fight the status quo and go where we reside as kings. But I'm glad that we had the reason why we rap and we answer the query, yo, every time we make a track. And I'm back from a break every time I do a project, mostly cause I find myself waiting after I drop that. Takes a few years between the work I'm doing now and the next, and now I hope it breeds anticipation instead of the rest, happiness instead of stress, love instead of regret. I also hope that you like me as much as you like this.
I work with History's Greatest Monsters. I work with Goebbels. I'd work with the Woodman, you know.
Woodman was that?
I call Woody Allen the Woodman.
Woody Allen.
Yeah. You know. I don't know what happened in that attic in 1993, you know. But I'll tell you what, though, if Heart wants to